Roy Bonnell joins me today. Roy actually has been a key player in two other companies that I've covered closely, those being Thesis Gold and Founders Metals, each of whom I will say provided very strong returns for shareholders. You go back and look at their tickers. Roy's new venture, though, takes him out of the gold space. He is joining me today as the CEO of Allied Critical Metals that trades on the CSE under the ticker ACM. Allied's a tungsten story out of Portugal, mining-friendly Portugal. It's revitalizing brownfield tungsten mines. So, and I would say this is well-timed. Tungsten is hitting the news in recent months with Chinese trade restrictions creating geopolitical tensions and fears, and tungsten prices now responding and now trading at multi-year highs, as I'll get to kind of here visually. I was kind of warning Roy before we went live here that I am hoping to get him on for a good, proper, arduous deep dive, but today is not that day. I will just say, though, briefly here, we want to focus on some pretty remarkable assays that Allied just dropped here yesterday being September 4th. Before we get to those, this is a smart and I would say smartly timed project. There's an ongoing drill campaign as Allied kind of looks to accelerate itself into production, pilot production. But we aren't here for all that. Like I say, we are here for, honestly, I mean, I took some time last night and I was kind of asking Roy here too, but this might be one of the highest kind of pubco traded tungsten assays, and not to be hyperbolic, but honestly of all time. I looked, I think I found 20 or 25 years of high grade hits, and this one is it depends about how you determine grade and length, et cetera, but it really is one of those highest hits in the last quarter century at least, right? So I think with that kind of hit, you got to get the CEO on to talk about it, right? So Roy, I'll hand it over to you from here, right? So thanks for taking the time to come on, and maybe we will talk about that grade and that assay, but maybe just if I missed any gaps in the elevator pitch, maybe just take us through that a little bit, and then maybe introduce us to Borrallha and this high grade hit that we're talking about here.
Yeah, thanks, Matthew. I think your elevator pitch was pretty bang on. The only things that I would add to it in terms of timing is we're at a point not only where the geopolitical is making tungsten a headline in the news, but also the pricing. We're at about $545 an MTU, which is a exciting price. I was talking to some traders actually at the start of this week, and they were saying it's over $600 in China, which is indicative to where we're going. So our timing is, if you like, is pretty good on this. This is sort of a overnight success, years in the making. As you know, we've been speaking about this mine for quite some time. We've been a believer in the thesis behind tungsten, and now we're getting a little bit of daylight into the story. So it's exciting.
Yeah, no, and absolutely is. And yeah, these sort of results, and I'll get that headline number up again for people. I mean, it's tough to beat that, right? I mean, 0.8% is it would be high grade typically, right? So seeing 8% is remarkable, right? Maybe
listen, to get right into it. I mean, this is also a Wolframite mine, and Wolframite and scheelite are really the two principal types of mineralizations you find on tungsten, and Wolframite is so much easier and less expensive to turn into a concentrate. You get much better recoveries, and the secondary metals tend to be have less undesirables in them as well. So I would say not only is this probably right across scheelite or Wolframite, probably one of the best intercepts ever, but add to it that it is principally Wolframite, I think it's even that much more exciting.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, or ask you to touch on that. But yeah, I mean, this is those knockdown effects, and here I am already getting off topic and getting into the long form. But I mean, yeah, the Wolframite. I mean, mechanical separation, inert tailings, all those sort of things, all those nasties that can kind of delay or kind of hang up or make a project more expensive. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of those sort of issues that aren't here, which makes it so simple and cheap and easy for communities to support and not be concerned about poisoning a watershed or something, right? So yeah, lots and lots of positives here. I will do my level best though not to chase those rabbits here. Let's talk about the grade, talk about the hit, because here we are, right? So this is I think it's called the St. Helena, the breccia pipe system, if I got that correct. And so, I mean, here it is, right? This is at 6 meters of 8%, and here it is the RC14. right down at the bottom there, about 250 meters down in this interpreted breccia pipe system from surface. And so maybe I'll start off by saying, I was just kind of scanning or rereading the technical report here. And so it talks about the fact that a lot of the mineralization at Borrallha is tied up, or there are often these sort of nuggety high-grade mineralizations that is part of this system. And so you have got 12 million tons I&I, at about 0.2% right now. How much of that is kind of coming from these very sort of localized high-grade nuggety pockets versus the sort of broader swaths of low-grade mineralization?
Yeah, well, so I guess there's two things. There's grade and there's like width, and I would say that what obviously the grade on this is fantastic, but it is, I mean, it is over a 12-meter length, which I think if you look at the other comparable high grade holes that we would be looking at to make the claims we were making, that's probably one of the best widths out there that you can find. And certainly, this is one of I think 9 holes, that the first of 9 holes that we were drilling. And I can tell you, just because visuals on Wolframite tungsten, because it is black, is so good, we can tell you the visibility seems to indicate that we've got other holes out there that are probably comparable in metal content. I can't make any claims around around they were going to have other grades like this, but certainly right across the brush, I think what we have is a pretty strong metal content.
And where's the nearest historical hole even? I mean, has that sort of, as this little high grade nugget individual localized swarm sort of been hit before already? Or is this, a true sort of extension at depth of the interpreted ore body?
Yeah, this is actually a pretty good step out. I think it's like a 50-meter step out or something. So it's actually it's sort of a new zone.
I guess maybe another follow-up then, though, is this is a breccia pipe. Is there a correlation, or so in your news release you sort of used language and you kind of touched on that you're hopeful and optimistic that there's going to be kind of more kind of these happy hits. Is there an expectation or a correlation that grade will increase with depth, or is it just that you've kind of got into a localized high grade area here? Or how much does this allow you to maybe pursue more high grade?
Yeah. So as was indicated in our news release, just on visibility, our geos thought these other holes look pretty good. In terms of grade, again, it's hard to imagine we're going to hit a lot of other holes like this in terms of grade, but certainly in terms of metal content, we think we're there. And essentially what we find is the deeper we go, the higher the grade. So that's encouraging.
Yeah, no, excellent. So yeah, on that concept of depth, I mean, so this is about 250 meters down. I mean, I know that's not a lot in the grand scheme of things for an open pit typically, but can we just hear you say it? I mean, 250 meters down, that's still open pittable in this quarter of the world
Yeah,
with the rock.
because of the location of Borrallha in particular, it's not going to be an open pit, but
Open
it
pit.
does support bulk underground mining. So at the end of the day, what's important is cost per ton of mining, and be able to bulk mine this as opposed to just following veins, is the difference between a $35 per ton all in mining cost and a $200 per ton, and we're probably looking more in that $35 to $40 range. So it is significant in terms of what it allows us to do in terms of being a profitable operation.
No, excellent. And then you are using RC drills here, and cheap and cost effective, and for someone who's trying to get to production, I think you're not a pure exploration story. But do these results maybe cause internal conversation around switching to diamond drilling just to sort of improve your subsurface understanding to kind of chase these high grade results? And I guess why or why not on that?
Well, Canadians love diamond drilling, and so it was all part of the conversation. But our understanding is that the RC drilling is more supportive of what the true the true metal content would be in something like tungsten, just because of its weight and the nature of the drilling. So that was a choice that we made. But again, I can see going back at some point, but right now, the geos were felt that RC drilling was actually the best technical choice for the asset.
Okay, fair enough. And so, I mean, we are at nearing the end here. Only a couple questions left, but I guess just one from CEO here, a follower of yours or investor of yours, just asked you to again sort of clarify just timelines as it stands. You know, what's it going to cost in terms of time and also money to get to pilot production initially, and then also kind of that ramp up to full scale commercial.
Right. So I would say just on Borrallha, we still have another 1,500 meters to drill, which represents say 300 meters, a hole, another 5 holes in September. We had a bit of a pause in August due to the really hot weather in Portugal and the risk of fires. So we're going to do that in September, and we're probably looking at maybe supplementing that later in the year as well with more drilling. Seeing as this has been tremendously successful, and we think that the deposit at Borrallha is actually much larger than we even imagined it to be. In terms of a pilot plant production, from financing to shipping our first concentrate is probably a 6 to 9 month period. So in an entirely different area, we're going to continue the drilling on Borrallha, but we're already working on financing the pilot plant. We have 9 to 10 different groups right now at financing the pilot plant. And quite frankly, what we're finding is the pilot plant, which, as we were talking about Wolframite, it's such a simple process. It's not really that expensive. It's a 5 to 7 million US investment to produce a roughly 250 tons of concentrate a year. So, it doesn't move the needle for a lot of financiers to come in and just do, 5 to 7 million US. So a lot of them are looking at this actually as part of a bigger package that includes financing the full scale plant as well. So, with that many people right now, we're going through a process of how we get it from like our 9 or 10 down to the one that we want to finance it with. So we have a lot of optionality because everyone's looking at this differently. Some people, want to do just the plant. There's others who wants to do both the small plant and the large plant. There's others who want to do who actually, want to bring their own equipment and bring their own experienced staff and JV with us on the plant. The way that the market's responding right now, there's also the optionality to even, do a larger financing late in the fall and finance it that way. So right now, the world is our oyster in terms of we're going to be able to choose what we think is the best for shareholders based on cost and management of risk and the associated variables in terms of getting this to production. And also, of course, we're also talking to governments both in the US and in Europe with the idea of, because this is a critical metal, the idea of them participating on a non-dilutive basis as well. We've seen a lot of that in the tungsten space recently. So if we can leverage our shareholders' investment with government funds, then that's going to work into how we want to finance the plant too. And as I said, once we've got that set, 6 to 9 months, and then we're shipping out concentrate from the pilot plant.
Well, I imagine you are suddenly a pretty popular guy, right? Those kind of hits will get your phone ringing up here. And so I somewhere along the grapevine here, I was confirmed to me that that these results will make it in. You have an imminent or a near term resource estimate PEA that are due out, and my understanding is that these recent results will be included in those. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think we'll probably have a new resource estimate on Borrallha in October, and then the PA will probably be done in November.
And so if you, let's assume you knock the grade in half, but you're still finding lots of glory, lots of joy in the rocks there, would that necessitate you kind of pushing back both those things? Just because how the heck would you if you're going to keep hitting bangers, would you delay the resource estimate and PA to get that included?
Well, that would be a nice problem to have.
So yeah, sure, yeah. In a world where that happens, yeah, fair enough. Well, yeah, no. I mean, honestly, Roy, I think that that's where I said, and I try to keep it short and sweet today. But yeah, do you want to just, and you've touched on it, I guess, but do you just want to clarify for us? I mean, what's the next 6 months? With the run to the end of the year, what's the sort of news that we can kind of hope to see from Allied in terms of keeping Catalyst moving?
Boy, I think we're going to have a pretty busy end of the year, Matthew. I mean, we've got all of those drill holes yet that we're all excited to see as they come out throughout September, October. As we said, we're working on a plan to finance the initial production from our pilot plant facility. We're going to have an updated resource estimate as well, followed by a PEA. Um, and hopefully, in the context of all that, I think we will probably be in a position where we can announce some sort of government involvement, be it Portugal, U.S., Europe, or some combination thereof. Uh, yeah, I think we're going to have a pretty exciting news flow going forward between now and at the end of the year. We're going to try to deserve our Christmas break.
There you go. Well, no, I know. They say that grade is king, and I know that in the metals that you're in, that it's the quality of the concentrate probably is arguably maybe king over top of that, but you can't beat grade still, right? I mean, 6 meter, or what was it, 12 meters of 4%, 6 meters of 8. There's a remarkable numbers, the kind of hits that you will not see. Once in a decade sort of hit here, and so I think that demands your attention. I'm speaking to you as investors, anybody listening here, that it's well worthy of your time, because these are very, very extraordinarily rare hits that's pulling out of here. And as Roy just communicated, that visually there's a chance that maybe some similar love might be happening here too, if like you say, with any luck, knock on wood, right? So, okay, no, Roy Bonnell, CEO of Allied Critical Metals, ACM. Keep a watch on this one, because there's lots of news coming. Thanks for your time, Roy, and yeah, hopefully we can get you back on soon.
Thanks a lot. Anytime, Matthew.